So, if we're being real, it's 2 days later, and this was probably one of the most obvious defensive fouls ever. It is a bad call by a referee. It is what it is. I have to say, again, bad call by a ref. Ref should do better at the time. Caitlin's reaction was wrong. I think any other way of going about or talking about this other than that, I don't really get where you're coming from, but still, it is what it is. So, what happened? Caitlin drove to the basket. As you can see here, she drives. There's a hand there. That's a foul. Then she goes to the basket and gets a dead leg. She gets fouled again, and then Caitlin extends with her arm. So there are two defensive fouls followed by an offensive foul by Caitlin Clark. Obviously, it's a call. Caitlin throws herself to the ground. The ref deems there to be no contact. The ref deems that Caitlin jumped into Kia Stokes. Bad call by the referee. We're supposed to move on. Caitlin then comes out, and again, I don't love in a press conference when she goes to the referees, and she was like, I had to play the rest of the game with a contusion. And then you've got everyone being like, Caitlin Clark's faking it. She committed an offensive foul. Now she's complaining about the refs. Her complaining about the refs is inherently racist. Like, I don't know, all this mad stuff. But like, look at this picture. Her leg's fucked. Like, you can see the bruise. She ran to the ref pointing at her leg. She had a dead leg. It is what it is. It happens. It happens in sports. And is that what they're called in America? Because I've referenced this before. If you're in Europe or if you're in the UK or Ireland, you know what a dead leg is. I don't know exactly what it's called in America, but it's like if you're running in and someone hits you in your muscle and you're kind of done. You know it's going to hurt like fuck. You're not injured. You know for the rest of the game it's going to hurt like fuck. It's one of those situations where you know it is going to be incredibly, incredibly sore when you play, but at the same time, there's nothing really you can do about it. Nothing really you can do about it because you're not injured, and if you're a sports player, you got to play through it. But at the same time, like, we've now got fucking actual media members essentially being like, shout, I'm like, I am glad that at least Shania Wumake is being smart about this, and they're like, well, the reason for this whole situation, the reason why we're talking about this, a large part of it is because of the referees. And I think if we're being honest, even with the Alyssa Thomas situation, where whatever the way the narrative is, at least Shanae came out and said, being like, which is what I fucking, the one thing I've called Shanae out for is like, you are the media. And she's like, oh, me and Stephen A can only, call out this stuff too much. You're fucking part of the problem. And to a less, like, let's be very clear about this. I would love to talk just about sports. You can absolutely make the argument that I am part of the problem. The difference is that I am not a former player on a major network. I am a guy who speaks into a microphone in a room at 5,000 miles away. I don't really have the power to change any narratives. Let's be very clear. But that being said, I think the media has done a really bad job of blaming Caitlin Clark for everything. And we've seen some other stuff. But like this right here, it's so clear. It is clear as day that Caitlin Clark got hurt. I'm not going to say injured, but hurt. Like, because that shit hurts. Anyone who's ever played sports knows if you get a knee to the quad, or you get a knee to a muscle, or you get a kick to the back of the calf, and it's actually a kick to the back of the calf because, sometimes if you think you got a kick to the back of the calf and nobody's there, you might have snapped your Achilles. As I once did, and I literally dropped to the ground, grabbing my calf, shouting to the referee, how the fuck did you miss that? And the guy behind me goes, I wasn't near you. And I literally went, I was like, so you didn't kick, like the ref's gone, I was like, so you didn't kick me? He was like, no. I was like, I've just snapped my Achilles then. Fuck. Like, that was my, that was genuinely my reaction to that. But at the same time, Caitlin Clark missed a season or missed chunks of the season because of a quad injury. She hurt her quad from this play. And again, no malice in it. Zero malice in this from Kia Stokes. Like, let's not make normal basketball players more than they are. Basketball players more than they are. It's clearly a foul. It is clearly a foul. It is clearly a, clearly a foul. Clearly a missed call by the referees. Clearly a basketball play. Clearly nothing. Like, you don't make it more than it is. Like, I think all sides of making stuff around Caitlin Clark go crazy is wrong. Like, this was a nothing play. And people are like, oh, look, see, she went out to hurt Caitlin. If she did hurt Caitlin here, this is the most obviously nothing play ever. My favorite part about all this, though, is the Valks. The Valks posted a photo of basically this here. And it was like our block. What did they say? It was like basically something about like Kia Stokes being a great shot blocker. And I was like, she didn't block this shot. Like, it has gotten so crazy that her own team thinks she blocked the shot. Her own team thinks that she blocked Caitlin Clark on this shot. Her own team thinks she did. That is how crazy these narratives are. Her own team don't realize that Caitlin still scored the basket. But look, at the end of the day, it's just mad situations all around when it comes to Caitlin Clark. Like, I think we have to realize that that's what it's always going to be. There's always going to be crazy situations. There's always going to be weird narratives. It's fucking Caitlin Clark. Like, I mean it. It is one of those things where the anything that is slightly, and by the way, if Caitlin goes and drops a 30-point triple-double tonight, they'll find another way. They'll find another way to go at her. And like, I hate all this narrative and this bullshit because it's making me not want to watch any other teams. Like, it's actually making me be like, you know what? Like, I'm covering what I have to cover. I don't want to watch any of these other games. I don't care. Even with the second channel, I'm like, it's actually hard. It's actually hard again. Because even in the last week, and it isn't like a thing where I'm like, it's easy to get away from it by just not looking at social media and not clicking on the effective spam folder of your Twitter by clicking into requests and not looking at Instagram requests. Like, it's an easy thing to get away from, but I'm like, sometimes I'm just like, for the sake of $0, like, I don't make any money off that second channel. I don't make any money talking about talking about some of these other teams, unless it's a crazy story like a shoe being thrown or a game being cancelled for no reason. So I just don't think there's that much of a point. It's not worth it because, let's be very clear, as long as the actual media refuses to promote other teams, I'm not doing their fucking job for them. I'm not doing their fucking job for them when their bad faith coverage of everything is making my life 1% more difficult, mildly frustrating. As let's be real, like, making basketball takes, especially around one player who happens to be my favorite player in the league, or to be honest, who happened to be my favorite player in the league. The way this Fever team is playing right now, I don't know if I can say that anymore. As suddenly being called every name under the fucking sun, have had people that I've had relationships with for a decade cut ties with me because I'm a fan of Caitlin Clark. Like, it's weird shit like that, and I'm like, this shit is making my life 1% harder because of these media narratives. So I'm like, I'm not giving the rest of your league any fucking free promotion anymore. For a while anyway. I'll see you guys.